I'm really excited today to bring you guys an exclusive look at the Gowow Ori. Now, this is made by a brand new company from Beijing, and this is their first cross-country bike. The reason I say cross-country is because it's not really like the Talaria or the Suron because of the weight. I'll tell you about the specifications, and I'll go over the positives and negatives during our ride. But let's get into it. Let's find out about the features of the Gowow Ori. So it's bright and early, and we're taking a look at this amazing looking bike. This is called the Gowow Ori. Now this bike comes in at 73 kilograms, made from a forged aluminum frame. Now inside that frame, you have a 72 volt, 38 amp hour battery. Now those are LG cells. The motor and the controller pushes out 420 Newton meters of torque, pushing out also 9,000 watts. So significantly more more power than the stock Suron. The stock Suron will only push out 6,000. Now that means this bike will take you up to 100 kilometers an hour. Now, we're also running a custom front wheel that's 19 inches in the front and a 18-inch in the back. What's really cool about these tires is these are the best stock tires I've ever tried on any electric dirt bike. The rubber quality is just so good. They're so sticky. The brakes are also not bad. They're branded. They're not branded, I apologize. They're not branded, but after adjusting it, they feel really, really nice to the touch. Across boundaries, across star, Gowow. Not sure what that means, but it's up to your imagination. We're also running KKE rear suspension or rear shock and front forks. I'll put the suspension specifications on the screen as I don't really remember it off the top of my head. We also have a bunch of custom controls, mode, dyna, you got your horn, you have different gear selectors, and you also have your secret boost button. That'll give you 120 amps of short-term boost. It's about 30 seconds of 120 amps. Now, what's really cool about this bike is you can actually adjust all the different modes. So you have your mode switch here, which goes from A, B, C, D. And apparently the other modes are for sand and when it rains. Dyna is kind of its DNA. Basically, you go from this cog, which is custom, to sheep, weakest, this coyote, which is medium, and then cougar, which is kind of the most aggressive. And then gear 3. So basically, cougar on A mode with gear 3 has the most amount of power. You also notice that there's a rocket, so that'll tell you that your boost is ready. You have this beautiful odometer that'll show also your kilometers per hour, battery, and your odometer. This is your power switch right here. There we go. And you also have your adjustable front forks, rebound, and preload adjustment. I've mounted this Peak Design phone mount because that's the phone case I'm using with it. But what's really cool, and what you may not be able to tell, is that this entire bike uses titanium screws, everything. And we've had to do a few repairs on the bike since I've owned it for 2 weeks, but all the screws are pretty much the same size. They haven't gone and used like 300 different screws. So repairing this makes it super easy. Now it goes without saying that all these white plastics get dirty really easily. So if you want to clean it, use one of those magic white eraser sponges and it gets it right off. Another really cool thing is, obviously, if you look at the entire bike, almost everything is custom on this bike. I mean, from the plastics to that front headlight, side plastics to this bottom, everything is custom. The brakes and the suspension are not custom. They're probably just tuned to exactly how they want this bike to ride. But it's still really cool that a lot of even the brakes, I haven't seen this brake on the market. The gear selectors, they haven't just, you know, bought this module from a company and, you know, utilized it. This is completely custom. This as well. This reminds me of a running machine. This is your, like your safety harness. So that's enough about the Gowow Ori. Let's get on it. Let's go for a ride and let me tell you more about it. So it goes without saying that this bike obviously looks like the Swedish brand Cake, but it's not. If you actually compare the two bikes up close, you'll notice that there's a few design elements that's different. Obviously, the Gowow Ori has taken some design elements from the Cake, but they're not the same bike. I still think this looks pretty freaking awesome. Let's go, stair bomb. I always wonder what those security guards do after, like, the school starting period. Do they have another job? Have people been asking these important questions in society? I need to know where those school guards go. Green light, red light. 1, 2, 3. Split out from the power. Just 2. 1, 2, 3. A 100. This is definitely not the fastest bike to 100, but this is plenty of power if you're off-roading. I mean, even for the road, the seat unfortunately does get dirty quite easily, and even just using a brush, it's hard to get off. The plastics are no issue. Like I said, use a magic eraser. What I do when I park this bike is I actually open the latch, which, by the way, there's no lock. I don't understand why. And I unplug the battery. Now, I like the gamified aspects of this bike. The app is super, super buggy. I don't even bother using it. But when it is working, you're able to adjust the different modes. You're able to adjust the power delivery, and you can have a custom profile, which is by switching this dyna here to the cog. So that's your custom mode. But otherwise, your Cougar in A mode with gear 3 on is your fastest mode. The speed is okay. I like the gamification aspects. You know, it's not just like gear 1, 2, and 3. Like, you're using Cougar to symbolize it. The throttle control overall on this bike is pretty, like, even throughout. Now, it took a lot of getting used to. First off is this seat. This seat is actually quite stiff. But the nice thing is it's all the way up here, so if you're off-roading and you're making a steep climb and you need more pressure, look at this. You're able to sit all the way up here, right? And I can sit all the way back here. So this seat is so long that you could essentially like take 2 people with it. But there's no pegs. Now, I've also had issues with DC to DC, which is, I guess, like a power inverter. Not 100% technical with this, like, electronic stuff, but it basically controls the horn and the lights. The power of the bike still goes, but yeah. Now, I wish all electric bikes come with a reverse throttle. It's very easy. It's just like a firmware tune and a cable. I think it should come standardized. I'm gonna push for that every electric dirt bike comes with a reverse. It just makes it super easy, right? If you're off-roading and you find it hard to push your bike. Woo! Yeah! Single track, baby. Another thing I don't like about this bike is that suspension is fine, but you don't have anything protecting the suspension. And so all the gunk gets into the suspension and, well, it's not gonna make for a very lasting shock. And I also don't find this very useful. I never use it, but maybe if you're coming from the gas-powered world, that may come in handy, but I've never had to use that, right? And these throttles are, they don't have any dampening, they don't have any rubber. It's like this hard rubber. You do have really nice grip with it. I will admit, but it's not soft to the touch. If you're wearing a glove, then I guess it's all right. But if you're riding this barehanded, it's actually just terrible. But this thing, once you get used to it, it maneuvers like a dream. I appreciate the fact that they've taken the time to design the bike with unique elements. The display is unique, the throttle control. They told me this brake system, they've gone through so many renditions, so many phases of development just to get the throttle to feel the way they want it to feel. This is such a cool bike. Still, man, the thing I want is, I wish it had a lock for the battery. I want to ride this thing out, but I can't because I'm scared someone's gonna take it. If they find the power switch is right here, they might take your bike. Why wouldn't they? You gotta chain this bike up if you're using it as a regular bike. And this is the entrance. Let's go. Now this seat height is definitely taller than the Sur-Ron and the Talaria. So this is more of a bigger dude bike. This bike feels less like a electric bicycle put with an electric motor in a dirt bike style like the Sur-Ron Talaria. This is more of like just like an authentically dirt bike. But then at the same time, because it's all white and just some of the elements speaks to me like this is more of just a cross-country bike. Like if you're like a bougie farmer maybe. I don't know. These rocks are slippery, man. This bike will cost you $7 grand, which is significantly cheaper than I believe the Cake. I tried the Cake while I was in San Francisco. Was not impressed with the battery. Was not impressed with the bike. But apparently it was because the battery wasn't full and just the model that they had on display. But still, right? If you're gonna bring a bike to demo, right, at an e-micromobility event, it should have some power. I do like the suspension on this bike though. It's really soft. It's really, really nice. It's really nice and cushy. And also, I'm not a pro rider, so this is more of just like a general consumer level review. Don't expecting me to do like crazy Sur-Ronster stuff, causing havoc on the road and shit. Not really interested in that. Oh man, you can trust this tire so much. I love it when you can buy a bike and it's ready to go. And this is really generally quite slippery. I mean, it rained last night, so it's a bit more packed in. But man, these tires are so good. I actually bought an extra set of these because they're so good. And I also like this display, right? Because you got metal around it. So it won't protect against like a very serious crash, but if you're just dropping your bike, which you often do in situations like this, your screen should be okay, right? And like this headpiece, it's mounted right to the fork, so it's not gonna bend. If anything bends, it'll be your handlebar. I'm tired of having to, you know, adjust these screws every time I go out. So to summarize, my favorite parts about the bike are obviously that the aesthetics. I mean, this bike just looks freaking awesome, right? And then it's probably the tires. These custom tires work so well. I mean, obviously you can switch out the tires. It's not a huge deal, but it's nice when a bike comes with a really, really good tire. The suspension setup is also really good. The things I don't like about the bike is obviously all the white stuff gets dirty really easily. And then it's probably the seat to handlebar height ratio. You feel that it's just way too close. I mean, just look at this distance. But something you could perhaps modify. And also the fact that you can't lock the battery compartment. Anyone can just take your battery. But if you're using this as an off-roader, that won't be a huge deal. Thanks for checking out this review. If you like electric dirt bike reviews, be sure to subscribe, support the channel, help me out. I really do appreciate it. I'm still doing electric unicycle content as well, and obviously electric scooters. Anything that's fun to ride, I'm gonna be reviewing it. Thanks for checking out this review, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.